One, zero.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Latin Explaining with Denise. Whew. Okay, let's start by saying that I want to thank every single one of you that have sent your condolences to my fiance. Thank you very much, and thank you for keeping us in your prayers. Um, with that being said, I almost did not do this show because it has been like a very uh crazy day for some reason. Of course, there's a lot of things happening on our personal level. So, but eventually, and I already made plans to not actually do the show today, but there's some news going on in Puerto Rico that are very important. You guys know, every time something happens over there, we have to I have to have a reaction to it, and see, compare points and see what people think here in the diaspora. See, are people going through it, um, from afar. So basically, before we start today, unfortunately, because this is a very sensitive subject, I have closed the panel and only invited a certain group of individuals to be up here with me. I apologize for that. I don't mean it to like push anybody out. I appreciate everyone that has been on my panels before, but today I want only like a smaller group here, up here with me commenting about this. Now, moving on to what's happening, I'm gonna show you guys what has happened, unfortunately, in Puerto Rico. So I obviously always put disclaimers and everything. And even though my channel is not for minors, if you're under 18, this is the time for you to log out of this because this content is not for you. So also, if people are sensitive to, I don't know, seeing fire scenes and stuff like that, there's nobody dying or nothing. So, but this is the time to like skip until this video clip has ended.
Me voy para el carajo. Claro. Neta.
I'm gonna try to rewind it. I'm sorry that it still has some graphics and stuff. This is how it's being sent and stuff like that. So none of us that received this video had time to edit it out.
Carajo. Me voy para el carajo. Claro. Neta.
Now, that's one of the first attempts that has happened today. The Monacillos power plant in Puerto Rico has exploded. Let's not forget, I mean, even my family, supplies from that specific power plant, and he has left a very large number of Puerto Ricans without power right now. So it feels like a major blackout. And even though there has been some response, right now a lot of people in Puerto Rico are without any power. So let's just put that out there. Now, earlier today, Luma released a statement, a press release regarding what's going on their end. And I'm going to read it completely in English and in Spanish in case somebody that speaks only Spanish is also listening to me. It says, press release for immediate distribution. Luma reports distributed denial of service attack to authorities. San Juan, Puerto Rico, June 10, 2021. Luma, operator of Puerto Rico's electric power transmission and distribution system since June 1st, 2021, has become aware of a targeted distributed denial of service, a DDoS, attack to the MyLuma customer portal and mobile application. A DDoS attack is an attempt to make an online service unavailable by overwhelming it with traffic from multiple sources. The DDoS attack was identified and has been issuing 2 million hits per second. As a result, many customers may have had difficulty accessing information related to their account. The attack has been reported to pertinent authorities, and Luma awaits the results of an ongoing investigation. Luma regrets that its customers had to experience the inconvenience the attack may have been caused and looks forward to continuing to provide them with an exceptional customer service experience. Now I'm going to read it in Spanish for those who do not speak English. It says, Luma informa a las autoridades ataque distribuido de denegación de servicio. San Juan, Puerto Rico, 10 de junio del 2021, Luma, operador del sistema de transmisión y distribución de energía eléctrica de Puerto Rico, desde el 1 de junio de 2021, sabe de un ataque de denegación de servicio distribuido, un DDoS por sus siglas en inglés, dirigido al portal de cliente y la aplicación móvil Mi Luma. Un ataque de DOS es un intento de hacer que un servicio en línea no esté disponible al abrumarlo con tráfico de múltiples fuentes. El ataque de DOS fue identificado y ha estado emitiendo 2 millones de visitas por segundo. Como resultado, muchos clientes pueden haber tenido dificultades para acceder a la información relacionada con su cuenta. El ataque ha sido denunciado a las autoridades pertinentes y Luma espera los resultados de una investigación en curso. Luma lamenta que sus clientes hayan tenido que experimentar los inconvenientes que el ataque pudo haber causado y espera continuar brindándoles una experiencia de servicio al cliente excepcional. Now, basically, Luma had this press release this morning, and basically what they're saying that they're receiving, and I'm sorry, like I said, if the show, usually you guys know that I try not to have any craziness going on, but this just happened. So I apologize for any noises or anything that's not properly edited. Okay, bear with me. Basically, what they're saying is that somebody did like a cyber attack on their system, and basically, when people were trying to access through their portal, their personal accounts with Luma Energy, now because the system might be overwhelmed, every website or service or has like a bandwidth. The internet is not infinite, it has a specific bandwidth on, like, it allows people to actually get on and get, start downloading what they are seeing. So basically the cyber attack is like, it was booting people out. So nobody could log in into their accounts because it was sending from different sources visitors, and it was sending every few seconds 2 million visitors. So they consider it a cyber attack, and they're investigating this. And then, like I stated before, this press release, this happened. Give me 1 second.
¡Ay, carajo! Me voy para el carajo de ti. Claro. Neta.
So basically, I'm going to give my thoughts. And I'm sorry if I'm going off, but I'm going to give my thoughts on what's going on. Many of you guys know that this whole contract with Luma is just an atrocity on Puerto Rican people. Many of you guys know that they managed to degrade the image of the power authority in Puerto Rico to actually make this happen. And in my opinion, it seems to be like Luma, because many people are still on the fence whether deciding if they are going to support Luma Energy and also support the government in what's happening in the beaches in Rincon and other coastlines in Puerto Rico. Um, right now, people are like, well, I mean, I think we're under attack. I think people are starting to wake up to the reality. So, in my personal opinion, of course, I believe that this is just like another tactic to make people resent or place the blame in the Puerto Rican Power Authority, the Autoridad de Energía Eléctrica. Because to be honest with you, This is too much of drama for like going on for one day, you know. And to me it's kind of wonky, like the way they did it, and the fact that I believe to a degree, well, maybe, you know, the employees are doing this as a, you know, maybe a protest or something. But then I came across this press release that the Puerto Rican Power Authority said when people started complaining, uh, they say that basically the blackout is not for the whole island. The power plant Aguirre is still online and giving energy. And he said, it says it means that with those other power plants, service can start to be, you know, turn on other units. And you know, the press release says, I'm not going to diminish the issue, it's going to be a very long night. So basically that's what the Puerto Rican Power Authority, the former basically distributor of power in Puerto Rico, now it's Luma, it's basically saying like, hey, we're working to actually get this done. And I came across, when I was researching Twitter, I came across a tweet that it really matched the way I saw it, and it's by Robinson Camacho. And he said, without any type of evidence, leaders from the new progressive party in Puerto Rico is already insinuating that this is a terrorist act. He's like, be careful with how you shift or change your narratives, um, because you might never know if, you know, later on we will find out that this was an auto hit, you know, that they did internally, Luma did internally, or somebody involved with it. And a lot of people started, you know, reacting to it, and I captured a little bit of it. And the first one said like, with more than 100 millions, you know, without having done anything, at least there's some money for fireworks, right? And then another one said like, how a new method to be able to submit a change of order, no. And then this one said, this cannot be a coincidence. You know, we're not like dumb fucks. Basically, that's like in the connotation that he means pendejos here. And it's like I said, yeah, we're not. We're seeing this happening in our faces. And this is my opinion, of course. I believe that this is something that was probably internally done to make the employees of the former power authority look bad. Like they're that disgruntled. Let me tell you something. The majority of these employees right now have been placed in other areas of the public sector, and they're still getting paid the same. Okay, so what do they gain out of this situation? Now, if you look at Luma, in my opinion, of course, you know, they have more to gain from this situation, because if you think about it, if people keeps their hatred for the Puerto Rican Power Authority employees keeps on growing, they will embrace Luna better. It's kind of like, you know, when you have like a toxic mom and your parents divorce and she tries to bribe you so that you hate your father, it's kind of like that, but like when it comes to like a corporation. So it's kind of like weird to me that I'm seeing a very small sector trying to say stuff and, you know, make comments, because the majority of people that I'm seeing agrees with this opinion that I'm sharing, you know, that we're not stupid, we know what's going on, you know, these employees have gone through so much more than this, and you guys, they never set it on fire like this. So let alone, you know, this cyber attack. So like I said, it's kind of weird and wonky to me that these people are trying to do this, and that they think so low of our intelligence that they think we're not going to catch up. Like we've seen this before. So in my thoughts about it, like I said, I believe this is going to probably be blamed on the Puerto Rican Power Authority employees, even though the majority of us, we won't see hard evidence. Okay, the most we will see is like one loser that they managed to probably bribe or something, and saying, oh yeah, I saw something or something like that. You know how they always come up with the stupidest evidence for this kind of cases. And you know, it will be blamed on the Puerto Rican Power Authority, or they maybe never find the guilty person, like they also do on other cases. So, like I said, to me, this is it's insane, and I'm so sorry that thousands of tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans are going through this right now with no power, not knowing when they're going to get power. Um, I'm really sorry that they're going through this right now. And like I said, I'm gonna open the panel. I see that Jose is here. Hi, Jose. How are you?
Good evening. How are you doing today?
Good, good. How about you?
Fine, thank you. Before I begin, I know I expressed my sympathies to you to your fiance in private. I just want to publicly, show my sympathy to Melody and I for his loss. I'm not going to claim to understand what it is to lose a loved one, even though I've lost some members of my family. But I just wanted him, to know that, you know, even though I have never met him, I never spoke to him directly, that, I'm going to continue to keep him and his family and in prayer.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that, and trust me, we know that you're like I said. My fiance appreciated your words, and me too. And I thank you for it. I know your intentions are the best, and I appreciate that, because I mean, it's one positive thing that we can take from the internet, right? From all the negatives, is that we get to link up and meet awesome people. So thank you very much, Jose, for the good vibes that you always share, and the wisdom.
You're welcome. And to be perfectly honest, I'm a little, sometimes I'm a little bit hesitant um, to message you at Instagram because I don't want to get confused with the rest of the slow temps because, because all the
Never,
people are tracking
never,
you.
never. But seriously, what do you have on the topic? What's your take on?
I'm still trying, to process the whole information. And I mean, my reaction is, what about all those people that are life support systems or like, like devices, like if God forbid, should an elderly person fall down and there's not a device, because I don't know how it's in Puerto Rico, but here in New York and other parts in the United States, for an elderly person, they have like a life alert thing where like it's a device, if in case they've fallen, they got and they can't get up, they can alert the authorities, so they can come and take them to the hospital. So I'm thinking about, what about all those people that if they have such simple devices over there, and if God forbid something happened to them, and they're not able to reach out to the authorities for assistance. I mean, you can have tragedies over there.
Yeah, yeah, you can definitely. And it's like I said, it goes to show that in reality, these corporations that our government, decides to hire to replace the public sector, they really don't care about us. They really don't. You know, I'm gonna add Brotep also. Hi, what's up, Brotep? Are you there, Brotep?
Yo, what's going on?
Good
What's up?
evening, Pep. It's
Good.
always a pleasure to hear from you.
Oh, pleasure's all mine, Jose. Pleasure's all mine. Um, I would like to echo your sentiments, Jose, about Mel Knight. My condolences to Mel Knight, and to you as well, Denise. Extended family
Yeah, of
is
course.
tends to be the same family as the one the ones that we're with and stuff. So my sentiments and towards that, and I'll keep you guys in my thoughts and stuff. But in terms of the tragedy that just happened, uh, what kind of power plant was it? I'm still at a loss for most of the
An
information here.
electric, an electric
Electric?
plant.
Okay, it's only electric. It's not nuclear or anything like that.
No, 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 no nuclear, thank God.
Okay. Because the first thing we'd have to basically kind of like get out of the way is the issue of safety. Even with the electrical power plants, if there are any, I don't know, what do you call it, collateral damage that can be that can be mitigated as far as the environment, as far as was anyone hurt? Like,
So
what are we
far
looking
that
at?
we know of, so far we don't know because it just happened. So we don't know who was in there, what happened. We know very limited information. I literally barely had the time to put this together. Like legit, I put all of this together
Mm,
in the last 25 minutes. You know, I've been typing like a crazy person to put
okay.
all of this together because when I saw it, I was like, okay, we have to speak about this. It's weird. It has never happened before. It's super important, and you know, it's something that's heartbreaking to see because you know, imagine if this power plant was not even destroyed with Hurricane Maria, and people that uh, got electricity from this plant, it took for them from 6 months to a year to actually get power back, and the plant was functioning. Now
Wow.
imagine the plant gone. Like how long do you think they're going to be? Like right now, there's massive lines and gas stations so people can turn on their generators and stuff like that. Ramon, oh my God, it's if somebody has Ramon's contact, because it's a closed panel, so that he can also jump in. Ramon, let me know
Right.
if somebody that I know, like Radical or Rotep, has your contact, and I will send to you the link because it's a closed panel.
Yeah, closed panel.
So yeah, basically, like I said, that's what worries me the most. I saw a comment of a moron.
Uh-oh. The moron's got her.
Uh-oh.
She'll be back. The moron got her.
But you know what? You know what it is? You know what it is,
Mhm.
Rosette?
What
Is
up?
that some people just cannot accept the truth, and some people cannot accept people of value.
Mm, true, true. I paid the ransom. The morons got you, Denise, but I paid the ransom. You're back.
Mm.
Tony Pay. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna butcher that name. Tony Payhair. What happened besides a fire? I mean, I don't think we need more to happen besides the fire, Tony.
I mean,
Uh,
hasn't Puerto Rico suffered enough?
that's
I
what I'm
mean,
this
saying.
seriously.
is
I mean,
What
this is
happened
first of
besides
this
a
all,
is
fire?
first of all, you have Hurricane Maria, with people still suffering, and then you have an individual that's being threatening 14 years in jail because they're protesting an infinity pool, and now
Hmm.
this, it's crazy.
Wow. This is too much, especially with the infinity pool thing, where the guy's literally trying to save the natural aspect of the country. And, now he's facing that time. And then now, after this hurricane, we have an electrical problem, possibly caused by a cyber attack, which, I mean, I hate to be the guy who, in the midst of a tragedy, starts pointing fingers. But I'm going to have to be a guy in the midst of a tragedy who starts pointing fingers. Why wasn't more money poured into? We all know with power plants, they're run by computers. Okay, it's massive amounts of staff that run those places, and there's firmware there that's proprietary that only certain people should have access to. They're not running Windows over there in those power plants. It's firmware. It's in-house software.
Mhm.
How did this get hacked? Was it an inside job? Who knew about this beforehand? Doesn't Puerto Rico have an intelligence network to keep ahead of these things? And if they don't, who's responsible for them not having it? Where's the money being allocated instead of security? None of this is a good look. None of this is a good look. And who suffers? The people. The people suffer because these
Mhm.
guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, This is crazy. I'd like to know who knew about this beforehand, because again, I guarantee you they're not running Windows or Linux or iMac or anything in that power plant. It's firmware. It's what's the company called? Luma? Were they in charge? Did this happen under their supervision?
Yeah, they have been in charge for 9 days right now.
9 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think your theory might be correct that they're trying to, basically have things look a certain way, you know?
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
have people like, okay, Lisandra said, it's a distribution electricity plant. It's secure place with officers gated. I live here in Puerto Rico. The officers are saying it might have been that it overheated. And I said, like, I know how the plants looks because how do I know this? Because I lived 25 years in Puerto Rico. And actually, like I said, my parents, myself, when I used to live there, and my sisters still feed from this power plant. So I know it's gated. I know it's only a limited of amount of people that have access to that part of the power plant. You only have access to like a small building where you can pay your bill and stuff. And you have to go through a gate to actually access that in the parking lot and then the building. So I know how it looks like. My point is that it's it's so much of a coincidence that you have a quote unquote cyber attack in the morning and then you have a quote unquote explosion in the afternoon. This is weird. It's not a nice look.
Yeah.
No.
Now I
And if
see
I
that
Well,
can,
Ramon
well,
is here.
none of this should sound right. None of it
Yeah,
sounds right.
no.
if I
Ramon,
can,
welcome to the panel. Oh, Jose, go ahead.
Ah,
great evening, Ramon. It's
thank
always
you,
good
thank you.
to hear from you.
How you doing, guys?
All
Okay.
right. What's good, Ramon?
Good,
All
I
good.
right.
I just have a question, and the question is this: are they going to launch an investigation? And I mean, I'm not just a PA stunt. Are they actually going to launch an investigation regarding what happened, or it's just going to be like, oh, don't worry, everything's going to be hunky dory great in a couple of hours?
Yeah.
I think they say
Yeah.
Luma said on their statement. I'm gonna put it on the screen. But you know, that's just words and the paper withstands anything that you write in it. So look at this. They said that they somebody has a feedback. Ramon, close any tabs that you have because it's giving me feedback. So I had to mute you. Um, so basically, Luma is saying that the DDoS attack that was identified and has been issuing 2 million hits per second. As a result, many customers may have had difficulty accessing information related to their account. The attack has been reported and pertinent authorities and Luma awaits the results for an ongoing investigation. So basically, they're having an investigation with authorities and also an internal investigation, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm not a big fan of internal investigation. Hey, we're gonna investigate ourselves.
Yeah, they're
We'll
shredding
tell you what we
papers.
find. We
You know,
promise.
Yeah,
so
they're
so
shredding
so
papers
so
right
so,
now.
so basically, um, the fox is going to investigate how the fox get into the chicken coop. Now, please stop. And
Say-
now, I'm sorry. I know how to speak English. I know how to
Mhm.
speak Spanish. I have never learned how to speak stupid.
Mm.
Yeah, well, they're
Mm.
saying that look, Lisandra said that the federal agents are over there now. I'm like, the federal agents are not agents for the people. They're agents for corporate oligarchs,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
they don't work for us. That's something that I'm gonna say something that might sound a little off from what I'm saying, but this is why I believe that, like we were talking yesterday about the diasporas. I don't believe in the segregation of diasporas. I believe that, the diaspora and the people in the island should work together with the knowledge that they both have, because each one of us is holding a piece of the puzzle. uh, you know, our diaspora is seeing how these Americans are doing this stuff and have knowledge when it comes to federal government, how actually policies work, and how these people manipulate with the system because they're so close to it, so they can take a closer look and see what's going on. also interact with other Americans that will say, hey, this is the way things are being done here, this the shitty treatment. Those informations for those of us that live in the island, believe it or not, that information never comes to the island. Never whatsoever. We don't have this kind of information. You have to really look deep into it. And I believe that, the internet has done just that for whoever is looking into these things deeper. But for the regular Puerto Rican that has to have 2, 3 jobs, this information is not accessible. So that's one of the reasons why I like to speak about issues of Puerto Rico in this channel, because we both have to come together, start talking to each other. And this is the reason why, because people like Lisandra, unfortunately, I understand the frustration, but the federal government is no different necessarily than an internal investigation, because it's basically people that are in cahoots investigating each other. you know it never turns out for the benefit of the people. Go ahead, Ramon, because I know you've been waiting in bro tip.
Yes. The whole thing, the first thing when I heard about this, I only heard about it just a little while back. I was just forwarded this story. And the thing is that the timing itself is a big red flag for me. There is a lot going on here that we don't know about. This is not a simple explosion. There is more to it. This is not some little accident. If you look at the timeline, if you look at the timing, just recently, just a few days ago, we were talking about what's happening with Luma, with the company, how they're not being held accountable for their shoddy service, how they have gotten this contract with the government that works entirely on their favor, and then they're not required to keep the service quality standards up. And because maybe they are being protested against, they are being criticized by the people, then all of a sudden this explosion happens. Like there is something in it. There is as you were saying, pieces of the puzzle. There is a big piece of the puzzle in this situation that we still don't have, that we still don't know. And you already said that there is going to be what supposedly is like an internal investigation as to what the situation is, and there isn't like an independent investigating body that can actually look into what happened and can produce and give to the population an unbiased, objective report as to its findings. Is already seen very suspicious to me. So there is something here that we don't know about. I'm not gonna speculate, but that certain happenings like this can be planned.
Yeah.
But who will benefit will be the question.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see. Let me move the fucktard comment that I highlighted. Look at this. Look at the last comment.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I'm like, and then this other tweet without any evidence, and the New Progressive Party in Puerto Rico. I'm sorry, but like, do you know that you can be pro statehood and not be a part of the New Progressive Party?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, that's an ideal, and the other one is a political affiliation. You can be still have your ideal. Like, for example, I am pro independence, and I even though I supported Dalmau, there are other. I did not support Ruben Berrios.
No, but Ruben Berrios is kind of like the old guard, the PIP that never went anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember back when they had, I don't know if Fernando Martin is still part of the party, but he was saying all of those celebratory things about Fidel Castro back in the day, years ago. and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way when he was talking like that. But
It took them
Ruben
a
Berrios,
while. It took them a while to revamp the pro independence party.
yeah. No,
It,
yeah, I mean, Ruben Berrios could have done, probably he was sincere. Maybe he was,
I think he was. I think he
uh-huh, he could
was.
have done probably great things if he had been positioned properly and if he had a chance, but that it wasn't gonna happen. Smart guy, smart man, well educated, and all of that, But well, most people were just not gonna go for it because maybe it was at a time when things may not have seemed so bad. When it came to the politics of the island, it's more critical now to
But
consider
let me tell
other
you.
options.
But let me tell you something. 68% of Puerto Ricans did not voted for Pedro Pierluisi.
No, yeah,
So
yeah. No,
yeah,
I understand.
even though some of them are divided in different things, even the Populares, the Democratic Party, also did not have the majority of votes. It did not have more than 30%. So the fact that you have, 30% of the people are still believing a little bit in each one of the candidates. However, the majority, the bulk of the island, including the Democrats, do not believe in this movement. And right now, from 11% that we used to vote outside of the Democrats and the progressives, now, we're having a 40%, and
Yeah.
that increase happened in less than 8 years. Let's just talk about that. So people are, growing, having a growing resentment against these two parties because both parties suck, you know
Yeah, yeah,
that yeah, let's just put that out there. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a progressive or an independentista. Both freaking parties freaking suck.
yeah.
So, they both have caved this abyss that we don't find a way to get out of because we continue to vote for this circus. And to be honest with you, I believe that, in my opinion, when it comes to Ruben, and, I think he was genuine in his ideals. I just feel that he was not necessarily the right person to rule. He didn't have that character, in my opinion. I think that's why a lot of people like myself did not vote for him, because it looks like he could not convince you, if that makes sense.
No, no. He didn't have enough force of personality.
No.
He didn't have enough force of personality to draw more of a following to the PIP. Uh, he couldn't get it. He couldn't do it, even though a lot of the arguments that he will make will sound really good, or even in the debates and all. But he didn't have that much force of personality that will that could convince people that it was the like a independence would be a an actual possibility that we could succeed, that it could succeed on the island. So yeah, I do believe that he was good, and nothing against him because I wasn't even that political myself when I was on the island. I never voted while I was on the island, if you can
I
believe that.
unfortunately did. I unfortunately voted.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
No,
god, yeah, yeah.
That's fine. I mean, it's your right. It's your right to vote. If you felt that at that time that there was an ideology that maybe fit what made sense to you, then that's fine. I mean, that's okay. But I never did in all my
No, I
life.
only voted. Look, I only voted once when I turned 18.
Right.
Then I saw the bullshit, and then after that, I was like, nope,
No, no.
never again. I only voted once,
Uh,
but yeah, I did vote it. I did vote it. Go ahead, Jose.
no, I was just looking. You see, the problem is in the United States, if you are a third party candidate, you have to be basically a gazillionaire to run, because unfortunately the two parties control everything. And I'm just looking. The last time that a third party was reasonably successful was the election of 1912, when the Progressive Party, which was a breakaway party of the Republican Party, the candidate finished second. Since 1912, no third party candidate has even gotten close.
And
Yeah.
that's something, it's like I was mentioning before. If you think about it, when you see that 40% of the island decided like, yo, we're not gonna vote for these morons, that is a huge thing. 40% of the voters, because not, let me tell you something, out of the 2.8 million people that vote in Puerto Rico, not all of it, I would believe it's what, 56%, 58% was the last election that voted actually, and the rest did not vote it. So actually, you have a better chance convincing the non-voters to vote for you by actually working for the people and make them believe in something again, rather than trying to steal other people's voters. Because that's like a bigger. It's the same thing that happens in the United States. 100 million people do not vote.
Mhm.
So you're better off at actually being competent at your job, which is a politician, and getting those voters than actually convincing the other ones to actually vote for you, because it's like a very slim margin. But if you add right now 40% of the people did not voted for the bipartisan circus, it's a very it gives you a little hope. But I don't know if you guys noticed also that made that these morons to make slip ups like this, and now Pierluisi is like knees to chest, running like a little bee, selling Puerto Rico away super fast, because they know, if they have 40% now in the next election, none of them will be elected.
Here in New York City, we have a thing called ranked choice voting, and what it is, you'll have like for mayor or the controller of the public advocate, you could have like 6 or 7 or 8 candidates running in one party. So basically, what happens is you select who is your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, your fourth choice, up to your fifth choice. Now, what happens is the candidate who gets the fifth least amount of votes, what happens? Their votes get spread among the other four, and it continues until one party gets at least 50% of the vote. I don't know if Puerto Rico had ranked choice voting, that would have avoided the situation with the current governor. Being that there's more than multiple parties over there in Puerto Rico. That's my understanding.
And that's a relatively recent thing, that there are several more parties and candidates that other parties can submit, because the PNP and the PPD, they have empowered themselves a lot, and they have certain privileges that other parties don't have. The other parties that are not the PNP or the PPD, they have to fill significantly more requirements when it comes to the signature collecting and the endosos. Se me olvidó. When it comes to people kind of like signing off on the
Endorsements. Yeah.
the endorsements, when it comes to endorsement collecting and things like that, it's more difficult for other parties that are not the PNP or the PPD. I remember Alexandra Lugaro doing live streams on Facebook about that, and how they made it more difficult for her and her team to meet the requirements, because it's a different set of requirements that these two parties that have been there for a long time, they have certain privileges, and they're allowed to get away with some things. They don't have to meet exactly the same standards and requirements that they impose on these newer, smaller
Because
parties. They make it more difficult for them.
they basically don't need to collect signatures to register again, because they actually had the quorum to actually qualify for the next election. Now
Yeah,
the
they're already in.
yeah. Now I believe with what happened now for the first time is that Movimiento Victoria Ciudadana, the MVC, and the PIP actually don't have to register because they got a lot of votes for the first
Ah,
time.
okay.
So, well, the PIP actually got for the first time automatically registered with Maria de Lourdes when she won a seat in the Senate. But this is the
Okay.
second time they have done it, which is like pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
Um, but Victoria Ciudadana is the first time.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I see that Brotep is sharing something. So, Brotep, I will give you the floor so that you can tell
Yeah,
us all about what you're looking at.
yeah, not a problem. I'm getting the the major outlets, which, by the way, like, comment, subscribe. This is breaking news, and it looks like Denise beat several major outlets to this. A lot of outlets are catching up. All the daily newses and the daily wires and all these people, they're catching up.
Yay!
Daily News now has. Give me a second. I'm gonna read this really quickly.
Maybe Denise should have her own news network.
Yeah, maybe like this could be the point of your channel now,
Now
like breaking news.
this could be
Yeah.
the genesis of that. What you're doing right now here.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right. I never thought that this was going to turn into like breaking news channel.
Breaking news channel.
Yeah, I'm just going as they come. If they pick my interest, I will speak on them. And
But
Definitely.
this just happened.
but like I said before, Denise, you are a voice crying out in the wilderness. You
Hmm.
are the voice of reason in a world where people are more concerned about personal dating habits and
And how
getting
you identify?
like
Yeah.
I mean really
Are you
I
pro Hispania?
I mean,
All right. All right.
I look at the other channels, like, and it's like, you mean you're gonna spend 4, 5, 6 hours debating the attributes of Spain, what they did 500 years ago. Meanwhile, we had this situation going on in Puerto Rico. I mean, you know what? It's nice, for history, but what does it do to change the situation now?
Listen, when the earthquake happened in Haiti, what a lot of us did was we shipped, because we knew there'd be power problems like this, right? So we knew that the infrastructure there is corrupt as hell, worse than any other place in the Western Hemisphere, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And so what we were thinking ahead of time was, what's the time frame we're working here before the insulin goes bad for diabetics, the blood goes bad for people who need transfusions, the food goes bad for people who have low blood sugar, right? The organs go bad for people who are mid transplant. All these things are way more important than how you identify, if you're pro Haitian or anything like that. We put our money together and sent off coolers and things that can help refrigerate things the best you can until this power goes back up. That's what I'm concerned about here, which is, what's the time frame we're looking at? How wide was the area that's affected by the lack of power now that Luma is off the grid? See, they were saying here that the give me a second. They were saying that the CEO of Luma said 350 workers are enough. Enough for what? You're a power plant. You have 350 workers. See, in China, this is from what I've read. I've never been to China, but I'm told by people who wanted to do business in China, if you're going to open up anything in China, they're going to ask you, how many of our people locally are you going to hire? You mean to tell me that you didn't have any locals that you could deputize and train so you can beef up your numbers to make sure that you have enough manpower for this? Give me a second here.
Uh,
Many in Puerto Rico.
Volta,
Yes.
do you remember my response? It
It
makes too
makes
much
too
sense.
much sense. God, Jose be killing me, man. Yeah, because the thing is, they have something. I hope I'm not misusing the term here. Have something called a single point of failure here, where okay, if the if the company's trained employees, let's say they get killed, God forbid, I don't wish that on them, but they get killed on the job or they get injured, they can't perform. You have no one else, so it's a single point of failure. Really? You didn't train Puerto Ricans, which would be an act that would not only boost up your safety measures, but it would actually help your economy by employing more people. But hold on, Jimenez also know that Puerto Ricans have complained that when they call the company, they are placed on hold for hours with no response. Let's say you don't train the people in how to run the computers to make sure the generators run properly in the actual factory, the power plant. You mean to tell me the manned phone responses, you couldn't have hired locals for that? They speak the language, they speak Spanish, the clientele Spanish. You couldn't have hired more people. That's why you have 350 people. And then you were like, no, it's just fine. This heads got to roll, man. Heads got to roll. This
Uh,
is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And now we got to look for, I don't know who's in charge of triage there to make sure, because that's my main concern here. How long do we have until all that stuff goes bad? If no one can get blood transfusions, remember they're still in a state of emergency. They're just recovering from a hurricane, right? And all these other sorts of things. If someone needs a transfusion, that blood, I don't know how long it takes for like the blood to go bad. That's not refrigerated, but that stuff is gone now. Give me 1 second, please. 1 second.
but see, the problem with that is that's assuming that people use logic.
Wow. Well, see, here's the thing though. They're a company. They got. I'm gonna get to that. Hold up. A private company that took over the power plant. You guys know this already. Distribution Puerto Rico this month has struggled with widespread outages and growing anger that it scrambled Thursday to control a large fire at a main substation that left thousands in the dark. Fucking unacceptable. Officials say outages had affected more than 1 million customers so far this month, notwithstanding those affected by the explosion and fire at the substation in the
sorry, I'm
capital of
sorry.
San Juan. Oh, you got more what was that?
No, no,
You got more video?
no. Yeah, it's something that was sent to me
Hey,
about
that
how
I gotta give
people.
that priority. If that's breaking news, go ahead. You want to put it on?
Okay, yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna
I'll
actually
get back to
explain.
this. Get put it on.
Okay, this is the line that you have to make to pump gas right now. People are uh, depending solely on their generators. So this is the line on every gas station in Puerto Rico close to the Monacillos power plant right now. So if you want to pump gas, if you're out there, this is what's going on. Uh, oh my God, this is giving me
That's the
Maria
line.
vibes. That's the
That's
line
the
for
line.
gasoline, for, Miles. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Like, legit, my heart goes out to you. Like, I know how fucked this shit is. Like I said,
Wow.
I'm really, really sorry that that you are over there right now. Like, I'm really sorry.
And
Um,
and and the thing is that that line might be in vain because those wells for those gas stations might be dry by now already.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Some of them might come and there will be no gas. This is like Maria. The same thing happened during Maria. It was hours of making these lines. Like I said, it's giving me Maria vibes. I'm sorry.
Look at this. Several mayors had declared a state of emergency as they distributed ice and generators to those in need before Thursday's fire, whose cause was under investigation. Many in Puerto Rico had hoped for a quick improvement in service, but clients complained that it had gotten worse in Luma's first few days of operation. Now, the thing is that I would have to, if it's their first few days and they're picking up where a tragedy had left off, like a hurricane or any other sorts of national emergency, yeah, it might take them a couple of days to catch up and hit the ground running. However, this to say like 350 people is just enough. It's irresponsible. With
Oh,
problems come.
I wanna
Yeah.
add something for
Yes.
that question that you're raising, and also, Miles. I'm trying to look after, how long it's going to be. I will let you know. Thank you for staying with me. I'm gonna stay here as long as I can to keep you guys informed. Now, what I was saying, Luma, let's not forget that Luma was only formed as a corporation, as an LLC, just a few days, like almost a month or a few days before they got a contract of billions of dollars with the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. There's a new
That's cute.
company that's Americans and Canadians came together and say, hey, let's just, come out of nowhere and form like a power company. And then
Okay.
20 days later, they happen as a quote unquote coincidence, land a multi-billion contract with the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. They have never had
Wow.
experience. They're a new company. And they also said that they're only capable of restoring power after a hurricane of category 2. Let's not forget that Maria was a category 5, and still our power authority was able to recover from that. And Luma only said that they can handle a category 2. So this is the result. How do we manage to hire the most expensive, incompetent labor, the
Hmm.
most expensive and incompetent corporation, and then try to pin it on our power authority? Come on now. I've lived hurricanes in Puerto Rico since I was 10 years old. You know what? No, 2 years old, because I lived through Hugo. I was just 2 years old at the time. But when I was 10 years old, I lived through Georges, and that was a category 3. And literally in 30 days, we had power. What are you talking about? So continue, bro trip. I'm sorry
Wow.
that I cut
No,
you
no,
off.
no, no. That's fine. This has turned into chaos, says Javier Jimenez, mayor of the western town of Sebastian. How do you pronounce that? Sebastian?
San Sebastián.
San Sebastian, which had established its own brigade of workers. There you go. To make repairs after Hurricane Maria. Hurricane Maria largely destroyed the U.S. territory's electrical grid in 2017, leaving some people without electricity for nearly a year. And these are very key words here when you say U.S. territory. If you want the clout of having this as, I mean, how many times, yeah, I'm gonna go to Puerto Rico this summer. All these big shots and even government officials proudly
Bro
proclaiming
trip,
Port. I'm sorry, God.
bro trip, I'm sorry that I have to interrupt you again.
No, no, no problem, no
Uh,
problem, no problem.
I got more
Yeah, God.
info.
Yes.
Luma Energy CEOs didn't want it to respond, and this is the only thing they have shared on the status of what's going on in Puerto Rico. And it says the problem has been an isolated one, and the restoration of power has begun. Is going to take the whole night for the power to come back to all areas. So now they're saying it was an isolated incident. What did I tell you guys at the beginning of this? They're going to
Mm.
come up with a bullshit conclusion, or they're going to blame it on the, Puerto Rican Power Authority employees. And that just happened. So to respond to Miles, I don't know in which area you are on. Let me know. Write it in the comment section. I will look up like when your area might get power back. But they say it's going to take the whole night to restore power to everybody, depending on the Aguirre and other power plants on the island. So let's see what happens.
Well, I
Go
have a
ahead, bro.
question. I have a
Go ahead.
question. Are they going to give vouchers or restitution checks to all the damage that's caused due to their ineptitude? That's my
I
concern right here. Now, since they're saying it's all under control, though, it'll take them all night, but they'll get it under control. I got it. Cool, cool. Now, what about the things that I mentioned before? Guaranteed, some of that stuff went bad. There's I was reading ahead and I saw one of the concern I voiced is backed up by some sort of Olympic athlete here who's saying that his insulin had to be thrown out. And we still don't know if he has insulin. Hold on, let me move ahead here. But many customers are seething, including Jose Aquino, a 38-year-old gymnast instructor who said that he and his family have been without power for 14 hours at a time on several occasions this week. His father is a diabetic and had to throw away his insulin before buying a small cooler to store ice in it. Now, there's the fire. So what's going to happen now? Will there be some sort of voucher to pay him for the loss? Not just the loss, but the 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 suffering that he's experiencing now. Hold on one second. Luma, a consortium made up of Calgary. This is what you were saying, Denise. Luma, a consortium, meaning a collection and coming together of, made up of Calgary, Alberta-based ATCO, and Quanta Services Inc. of Houston, serves 1.5 million customers. It will operate the transmission and distribution system under a 15-year. You guys are stuck with these motherfuckers for 15 years.
Thank you. Yes. And they also, let's not forget that Luma is distributing the energy that the Puerto Rican Power Authority employees are going to be producing. That's what's in the contract, because I'm still reading through the 848 pages of this contract. Okay. Because by the time I started talking about Luma, I only read like about 120 something pages. So it's a long ass fucking contract, and you will understand that they just shrink the power authority to make place for a second company that we do not need to just distribute the energy that our people is producing. And let's not forget, in case your guys are not knowing, this is how much people got just 3 days in with Luma. That was their light bill.
Hold on one second. Wow.
This is another
Wow.
light bill.
That's
This
US
is
dollars, yeah?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And as you can see, it's just, they had to pay before June 13th. So, and that was literally June 3rd.
Okay, that's
Everybody,
cool. Okay, okay. I'm sorry. Well, that's cool. So that's null and void now, right? They ain't got to pay this shit no more, right? Because of what just happened.
I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Yo, y'all better make noise, man. It,
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of people want to be dignified and quiet in their suffering. That's not the move. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
yeah.
Excuse
And
me.
go ahead, Jose.
Uh, I would not be holding your breath. Don't hold your breath if these people actually going to provide some sort of compensation for the suffering that they endure.
Wow. Yo, make noise. Take to the streets. Like, make their lives. I think a lot of times when these people do this sort of thing, if you don't make their lives uncomfortable, they have no reason
But
to
you know
do
what's
right by
crazy?
you.
You
Mhm,
guys want to know something that's crazy? I'm friends with certain freedom fighters for Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, today in the state of New York, there is a protest from a group of New Yorkers that decided to protest Luma. It was today at 3 p.m. And I can guarantee you that the slow tip circus wasn't there. And that's something they could do.
so tough circus.
Well,
Dun, 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 dun.
if I can just chime in for a second, that shows you how certain individuals, their priorities are out of whack. I mean,
Yeah.
here's another situation where people are suffering because of whatever it might be, but those individuals are not highlighting it. They're more concerned about who's dating what and the fact that we need to, honor our Spanish conquerors 500 years ago and all this foolala. Meanwhile, there's people suffering in Puerto Rico right now.
Yeah.
They still have not recovered from Hurricane Maria, and now they have to deal with this.
Yeah, yeah. And let me tell you something. I highlighted what Angel Torres said. He said Puerto Rico was tired of these people. De Utier, let's Luma work, I guess. Okay, let me tell you something, Angel. Uh if let's say tomorrow, God forbid, and you're protected, right? If you believe in God, um, let's say tomorrow you have, you know, your heart valves are all fucked up and you need a heart transplant, and the doctor that you normally go is also a cardiologist, but he's decent. He's not the best. He has fucked up many times. So you're like, no, I don't think I'm gonna take my chances because there's a 50-50 chance that he might fuck my heart up and I might die. Now let me ask you something. If you're shopping for a person, that a thoracic surgeon that can replace your heart and put the new heart in, are you gonna go with the recently graduated from school heart surgeon, or you want to go with the one that has 15 years of experience and low mortality rate? Because what you're telling me is that Puerto Rico had a heart issue, which is the power of Puerto Rico, and our regular doctor, which is the Puerto Rican Power Authority, gets 50% of the time gets the job done. 50% of the time they drop the ball. Let's be honest. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Now, the thing is that if we're going to exchange, why we don't go with, why you think Puerto Rico decided to tell a company that I don't agree with, right? But a company like Tesla, when Elon Musk said, "Hey, let me just change the Puerto Rico power grid to be completely different. I'll pay the cost through Tesla, and you guys only have to pay me for energy when I'm done." And the government said no. And now you have Puerto Ricans buying Tesla batteries left and right because that's the only reliable source of energy that we have access to. And now we have to hire somebody that is just about to have their first year old anniversary. That's the company they're replacing our company with. And you're telling me, like, let's let Luma work. What the fuck? If you won't put a newbie, a rookie, to replace your fucking heart, do not put a rookie into our public sector with a private company to profit themselves at the expense of our people. Come on now. We're
Excuse
smarter
me,
than this.
excuse me, Denise. I gotta say something now. I'm gonna get into rant mode again. I mean, look, really, when you need to get something done, you need to get the most competent person available or group of people available. Okay? I have undergone 3 major surgeries in my life. Do you think I'm going to let some doctor who just finished medical school open me up so I can be a human guinea pig? Heck no. I had a knee replacement surgery done on my left knee, my right knee. I had a gastric bypass. What is the common denominator? I had a trained physician that's been doing this stuff for years. I am not going to allow some kid that just got out of medical school that's going to open me up and take a chance that, okay, well, everything is going to work out. No. But it's just that I can't, sometimes I just wonder what kind of drugs these people on. Maybe I should go reach out to them and get the same type of drugs that I don't understand this. Now,
It's some
maybe,
good shit.
I mean, am I crazy? Or, I mean,
Whatever it is now, it's some good shit. Catch your stash of that.
this rant, but
I'm telling you, it's something crazy. Like I said, by the time that people like Angel wake up, Puerto Rico will be a destination for the rich and powerful.
yeah,
And that's why
Yeah,
we have to, we have to. I don't know if you guys have seen that in the World War II there was a minefield in a certain spot. I don't remember right now where. And there was like a lot of donkeys in that minefield, and the soldiers were like, oh my god, they're going to make us die, in activating these mines. So what they decided to do is to grab the donkeys and carry them to safety with them. And that's what we have to do with people that thinks like this. We have to grab our donkeys because they'll never get the point that they have to avoid the mines. And they're literally standing in the minefield with us and they will get us killed.
yeah. I mean, I don't usually do this, but as you guys have been chopping it up, I went ahead and I checked the usual suspects as far as the slow tep circus. None of them are talking about this. They're talking about, pochos and urochos and all kinds of, is Zoe the curious case of Zoe Saldana, and
They're
whether she's
defending her.
black and
They're
gets attacked for.
defending her from your wrath. Angel,
Oh, okay, okay,
Angel,
okay.
let me tell something to Angel before we talk about this in more depth, broad depth. Ángel,
Yeah.
yo viví en Puerto Rico por 25 años, corazón. Yo tampoco confío en la AE, la Autoridad de Energía Eléctrica no sirve, pero no podemos reemplazarla con Luma. Hay que hacer la diligencia y buscar una compañía que sirva. Punto. Y mientras tanto, Luma no es la solución. Luma no sirve, es aún peor y nos están cobrando más caro. ¿Cuándo carajo la gente en Puerto Rico va a entender? No podemos tener esta mentalidad bestia de estar respondiendo con emociones. No me gusta la E, vamos a responder con emoción. Que se joda el punto, que se joda la gente. No me importa, sácalos para el carajo. ¿Cuándo vamos a empezar a pensar las decisiones que estamos tomando? ¿Cuándo demonios vamos a empezar a pensar en nuestras generaciones futuras? O sea, hay que coger capacidad. Nosotros no somos niños. Luma no sirve y te lo van a empetar por 5 años, por 15, perdón. Nadie quiere esa clavada y esa comida de culo. ¿Cómo más te lo tengo que explicar? Sorry for the expressions to those who understood.
No, but
Yeah, that sounded bad. I don't speak
okay,
Spanish, and I didn't want to be on the receiving end of that shit. I don't even speak Spanish. Who are you talking to? He in the audience?
It's apparently he's in the chat.
In the chat? Let me go see.
It wasn't thinking about what he was posting, and
Okay.
it's like okay, the AAE, the former company, was bad, but Luma is already showing that they don't have what it takes. The thing is that whatever company is gonna have to be working with the people that are on the ground that actually have an understanding as to what this outdated infrastructure is, and that needs to be that needs to be revamped. It's been needing to be revamped for the last at least couple of decades. Maria only made it more obvious because all they're doing is patching up what is already there, just waiting for the next hurricane, waiting for the next storm to mess it up. Because that's all they're doing. They're just patching things up, just enough so that it works somewhat. But they could consider to be acceptable. It's not acceptable by pretty much any other standards in the more developed world, but they just patch it off enough. But they're not revamping it. They're not replacing it with something more modern and stable.
Yeah, they're not. They even said that, look at the contract. I'm going to find the exact page where they say this in their contract. Their contract said that if they do not distribute the energy to the people of Puerto Rico, they still have to receive their monthly payment for the service from Puerto Rico.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes. And then the thing is, like, look at what Angel is saying. Apparently he did not catch the replay when I explained that literally that the Puerto Rican Power Authority still has some employees producing the energy that Luma distributes. He believes that he's coming here to tell us something we already did not spoke about. Honey, rewind it and then catch it from the beginning so you don't look stupid. Now, and also make sure that you see the people that woke up to this kind of bill for you saying like, oh, Luma is charging more. This is what Luma is charging your people. Wake the fuck up. It's like I said, the people, it's sometimes it irritates me when I see morons from both ends. It's just something else, It's like, but let's not forget, Let's play it again for him. Let's play it again for him. This is the example. This is what I'm talking about.
You know, I would like to, I would like to know what type of drugs these people are on. I mean,
I want some of
or
it,
maybe they're sniffing
you
glue.
know?
Yeah,
Like
I'd like to
legit
know
at
whose
this
signature was
point,
on this shit. Like who
at the end of
signed
the
who
day,
signed on behalf of the people? Whose signature was on that contract? Who
The,
signed on
the,
behalf of the people?
the governor?
well,
It was
it's
a governor.
basically between the governor and the oversight board.
Yo, is it
So
that
Okay, so
same
it was,
governor with that pool?
come again?
Is it that same governor who's building that pool?
no, it's not the governor
It's
No,
a
that
no,
different
that's
not
different
doing
that
guy.
that.
one. It
It's
Different
wasn't
guy.
that one. It wasn't that one. No, because when
All right.
he came into the governorship, you know, the contract was already uh done. So basically, he when he campaigned, he said, well, if it doesn't look out for the employees and the people of Puerto Rico, for sure I will change the contract.
Yeah.
But now he's saying, well, I cannot cancel the contract, like I said.
Wow.
He's kind of like Kamala, the store that tells you on the
Yeah.
phone, yeah, I carry that product. When you get there, no, we don't carry it anymore. That's what he's saying. He's
Yeah.
like, I changed my mind. I don't have to cancel the contract. I will have to honor it. I have to honor the contract. That's what he said.
Man, yeah, I better start playing games. Got these lawsuits popping. I'd sue everybody.
Yeah.
I'd sue everybody. Holy
Minus
shit.
Angel, his cut is gonna be for him because he said he doesn't need it and that he's okay with Luma.
Okay. Wow.
So Denise, if I understand you correctly, these people are stuck with this contract for 15 more years.
Affirmative.
15 years of paying whether they get service or not. I I'm gonna
Yeah,
shut up
that's
because when I talk,
The
I'm
dark
yeah,
supposed to
that's
shut up about Hispanic matters. Remember? So I'm gonna shut up. Maybe OG Del Rancho will do us
You
a
know,
favor and speak on it. All
you
right?
know, I don't mean to cut. I don't mean to cut
No, no,
in,
no, no,
but
no. Good, good.
you know something? I don't drink. If I hear any more news for this, I might have to go to the liquor store and get a bottle and get drunk. I
Oh
mean,
Yep.
my God.
like
I don't want to be the cause for that. But I mean, once in a while. Let's say once in a while, we'll have like a little glass of wine and we'll process all of this like once in a while. But to be honest with you, yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking because we barely have people that actually care. We barely have people that are being mobilized, and time's running out.
and you know what, Denise? We have a few people who are making a positive influence in YouTube land. We have people like yourself. We have people like Rotap. We have people like Christina. We have people like Radical Latino. We have people like Ramon. I mean, because you five are basically like a small island of reason in a sea of insanity.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean,
And
because I'm
that's
sorry.
what we're here. That's why we're all here on this panel, because we're the only, aside from like three others that are not here, right? We're like the only rational individuals that actually have panels or come up on panels and stuff. You know, that's why I
And
made it a closed panel and
but
only invited people that are smart and actually have some critical thinking of their own.
well, I neglected to say thank you for allowing me to be part of this closed panel because I think I'm extremely privileged because to be around people that actually use their brain cells once in a blue moon instead of letting individuals that all they can think about is Mr. BBC. Now I have a question. Can someone explain to me what's Mr. BBC that Kim 123 talks about?
Bro, Ted,
Well,
this
it's
is
not
for
a
you,
it's
bro.
not one mister. He's not talking about just one guy. He's talking about a collective. He's talking about a group.
Okay, because when I hear BBC, I'm thinking the British Broadcasting Network.
No, that's what he
Yeah.
said.
No. They
That's
watch
what
more
you guys.
BBC than the. No, they watch more BBC than the UK. So it's not the British Broadcasting Network player. They watch way more BBC than that. They're trying to keep watch over the men who are marrying Hispanic women, right? Black men in particular, not white men, not Italian men, not Asian men. They don't care about those guys. They care about black men who marry Hispanic women.
Okay, but you know what? If an African American male should happen to find a Latina that loves him, that
Hmm.
respects him,
Hmm.
that values him, who cares?
And he loves
Okay,
them back and respects
again,
them and
again,
values
it's
them right
like,
back. Hmm.
I mean, it's like, what is the hang up? What is the hang up? I mean, look, when I think about the women I've dated different types of women. My first girlfriend was African American. I had a Boricua for a girlfriend. I had a white Jewish girl for a girlfriend. I had two Dominican girlfriends. Okay, one of them I married. So it's like, because I don't. I mean, the last thing I'm worrying about is what ethnic group am I dating. My thing is this: does this lady that I wish to pursue, can she accept me for what I am, words and
Hmm.
all? Who cares whether she's African American, Dominican, or like 50 million different things? I don't care, because love is love.
Those same guys worried about that. Again, I don't usually do this because I swore off all of that stuff. I kind of keep them outside of my basically sphere of recognition. But I just checked on them. They're not talking about this. It's like I want to see. I want to put a clock on it and see how long it takes them to cover this topic
Oh,
because
honey,
it's too
you're
late.
gonna run out
Mhm.
of numbers. You're gonna run out of numbers.
Right?
You're gonna
No,
be
it's
roll
mhm,
type.
go
You're gonna be waiting for weeks, months, not if not years before one of them actually say anything. And if they do say
wow.
anything about it, will be something stupid and moronic.
Yeah. Well, similarly to the guy Bitcoin, after I hired, he was actually going after me, uh, Denise. I think he told Denise he wanted to throw down some steps before or something like that. And yeah. Was it him, Denise, who
Yeah, it
Bitcoin,
was
right?
him. He offered to punch me both of my eyes and throw me down the stairs.
Yeah. So this guy, he basically said that Denise doesn't do anything for Hispanic people, and then me, I'm doing nothing for Hispanic people. Then I showed him receipts of me hiring Hispanic people to work on my project, and he said, "Why didn't you hire Haitian people instead?" Well, what do you want then? Like, what, you just asked if I support Hispanic people, and I found some Hispanic people that I chose to work with and pay, and then that's a problem. So basically, I should leave them alone, and then will you hire them? No. So
But you know,
who are you looking out for? Like what?
but you know something, bro, Tap? This
Mhm.
reminds me of the debate that Denise had with Guillermo, how every time she continued to bring facts and he kept moving the goalposts. And then he
Yeah,
tried to outspeak Denise. Because really, I mean, if you're so sure of what theory that you're espousing, you're going to allow the other person to speak. But Guillermo just kept trying to overtalk Denise and overtalk
yeah.
me to the point where he had to be booted.
Hmm.
He hated
Guillermo.
that.
Is it Guillermo? I think he
Yeah,
told me I'm not
it's
welcome on his platform. I think it was. Is it Mr. Down with America? Let it burn to the ground. That guy, right?
Yes, this
yes,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
he discovered a secret. If you have a problem with acne, death to America will cause the acne to disappear. If you're having erectile problems, death to America will cause those problems to disappear. Are you having a problem with your relationship? Well, if the
Hmm.
United States will no longer exist, that will solve your problem right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
that sounds like Jennifer Gonzalez with the statehood. She thinks that
Yes.
every problem of the island can be solved with statehood. I mean, she sounds like a broken record. Always talking about statehood. Everything she thinks that everything can be solved with statehood.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ramon. I have heard her. I believe if we grab her every time she says estadidad and statehood and we edit that, we can actually make a reggaeton beat.
Yeah,
I swear.
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe a producer, can take a sample.
Yeah, you should. Through
I'm sorry,
teachers.
Ramon. I think I overtalked you.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh,
No, no,
Rakim is
but the thing is that I've heard it, and not even on media that much, but I remember very well. I mean, every campaign or natural disaster, here comes Jennifer Gonzalez talking about statehood instead of focusing on what is going on the island and work on the island. She starts talking about that she's gonna go to Washington and meet with some politician about asking for statehood for the island, and that's something that we have already tried to mention here in one of Denise's past lives. There was somebody in the comments, I'm not going to mention names, who kept insisting that because of Puerto Ricans had already voted for statehood and statehood is going to happen for the island, which is not true. I mean, those referendums and stuff, that's kind of like those are surveys. Those are expensive, glorified surveys that only collects opinion of the people, but they're non-binding. That has nothing to do with Congress. I mean, Congress has been saying no for decades, and that has been going on for over 50 years. I mean, if it was meant to happen, it will have happened already. But it's not going to happen.
Ramon, the problem is if you have a problem with an ingrown toenail, statehood for Puerto Rico is the solution. If you have an acne problem, statehood for Puerto Rico is the solution. If you have an erectile problem, statehood for Puerto Rico is the solution.
Yeah, that's basically Jennifer Gonzalez right there.
Oh my God, I'm weak. Oh my God. Oh Lord. If I have a problem now, a technical issue on the show, statehood will solve that problem.
Statehood.
Or the instructions of the United States.
Yeah, down with the United States.
But you know what's the crazy part about the whole thing about Guillermo? He's sucking on the teeth of the great Satan.
Yeah.
They have
I mean, this is like the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. Now you're saying that this is the United States is the great Satan, but yet you're sucking on the teeth and you're prospering.
Yeah.
Okay. If you truly believe the United States is the great Satan, guess what? You can either do something to resolve that issue or leave. And
I mean, there are planes going. Listen, even with the pandemic, there are planes leaving to a country of your choice of destination every single day. Get on the first thing smoking. You feel me? Like this whole thing, especially with him, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, and he makes no apologies for it either. He said, "I'm here to take as much as I can, and then leave." Yeah, and what's his name said the same thing too. Dominican Dominican Renaissance. So they have a lot in common.
Not only that, what was the name of the dude? Oh my God, that said that he's not coming. He's a white supremacist that said that never's gonna go to your platform again, bro. It's a Van
Klaus Van Reck or some shit.
Klaus also said that he plans to go to Asia. Hey, Truth and Rakim.
What's up?
Good evening, Truth Teacher. It's a pleasure to hear from you.
Likewise.
Mr. Truth arrived. He's in the building.
The truth is in the building.
Yo, you know what? I just wanted to say, I just came from listening to another stream, not mentioning any names.
Okay.
Voldemort.
But apparently somebody is very upset because of the stream that we had on Tina's channel, and that we didn't allow people to come in and turn it into a 3-ring circus.
Yeah.
Oh, heavens!
Oh, no, it was gonna be.
No clowns allowed.
But
Hey,
Here's
how's
the thing
everybody
I
doing
realized.
today?
Hi, Rakim. What's up?
Hey,
Rakeem,
Raheem,
what's
what's
Hello,
up?
going on, man?
Rakim.
Hey, what's going on, bro? Temp, Jose,
All
Ramon,
right.
Truth Teacher.
How
How
you
Not
you
bad.
doing?
guys doing?
What's going on?
Okay. I just want to say one thing. True teacher, I just want to say to you, you know what? You're such a positive force, so don't let the naysayers try to get you down.
Well, you know something? I recognize that
I agree 100%.
people like this, the reason why I had a closed panel and why Denise is having a closed panel now is because with people like this, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Because no matter what you do, they're against you. The fact of the matter is, you've got a group of people who are just extremely hateful, and they don't like to see what we're doing here, which is creating cross-cultural communication and mutual respect.
Mhm.
They live in a delusion where they think it's okay for them to spew all kinds of hateful propaganda, and no one is supposed to respond to them. No one is supposed to call them out. Nobody's supposed to, debunk their talking points. And when you come to them, even in the most respectful manner, and you bring factual evidence to support, the fact that what they're saying is not true, immediately they're going to start to attack you. Immediately they're going to start insulting you. They're going to start talking over you. They're going to start with the personal attacks. So there's nothing that you can do. If
Mhm.
you close the panel and you don't engage with them, well, now you're violating free speech.
Oh,
Sure.
they can suck my dick. And
If
I
I
mean that in every way. And you guys know that I barely say
uh,
that.
can I just chime in for a second?
Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
Okay. What some of the mentally challenged need to understand when they get into a stream, they're there at the pleasure of the moderator or the host. Okay. Meaning, if the moderator or the host is gracious enough to allow you to come in and say what you say, and if you go to say something stupid and keep doing it, you're going to be booted out. On another stream that I did,
Facts.
I just simply stated that statement more or less. And then someone came at me saying that I was trying to say something like a hidden agenda. First of all, if I'm going to say something to an individual, I'm going to say it directly to that person. All I was saying, all I was saying was when you enter into a stream, you're there at the pleasure of the host. Denise has been very gracious to me to allow me to enter the stream and to be part of this closed panel. Okay. That means I'm going to make sure that I'm going to conduct myself with a certain level of professionalism or courtesy. Because if I fail to do that, guess what? I'm going to be booted and I'm going to be blocked. It is a simple fact. Unfortunately, some people who are mentally challenged cannot accept it.
And you could have
Well,
not said it any more clear, Jose.
exactly.
I said the short version of just that.
I
And
know the only okay. The
I
only
got.
difference is I know the only difference is I try to say it in a G-rated version, but
Yeah,
ordinary.
you said it in like a very elegant, sophisticated way. In my
Denise,
case,
Denise,
my
you
old
said it in a
fashioned little thing.
Denise, you said it in a rated R version.
Yes.
And I just say it in a
Uh,
Yeah,
G version.
that was rough.
Jose is Disney Cinderella. Denise is Deadpool.
yeah, and
They know what's up. And let me
the
tell you
thing is,
something. These slow tips are like so freaking irritating to me. To the point, and it's not because they personally irritate me, because to be honest with you, I literally enjoy making fun of them. Um, the thing is, like, because they don't have a lot of creativity, they bored me. So that's the part that irritates me. It's like, oh, have a better comeback. No, now I cannot say anything because that was dumb. And that it's what irritates me with time. Now, True Teacher was gonna say something about it. Go ahead, True.
Yeah, the sad thing is that, like I said before, no matter what you do, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So now they're criticizing Christina because she allowed me to be on her panel, right? And why is she associating with me and blah, blah, blah. But they're not looking at it from the side that, well, she associates with you all too. It's like she allows you to come on her platform too, even though you routinely like turn it into a three-ring circus. So they don't respect or appreciate the fact that she gives them the same amount of attention or the same amount of grace, I should say. You know, that's
Yeah.
not good enough. You see, listen, what we're doing here is very, very important because there's there's a culture clash, which is normal. Anytime you have a new group of people that come into a society. So right now, Dominicans are like the new kids on the block, right? And everybody who's been in the neighborhood longer, they're trying to figure out like what are these kids all about. And there's bound to be some misunderstandings. The only way you can resolve that is if you have clear communication and each side can explain their perspectives to each other. And that's how you get rid of disagreement. Now, I get criticized because for the longest time I've been sticking up for African Americans. People are telling me I'm not African American, I don't have any right to speak on their behalf. But if I've grown up with a group of people for most of my life and I have experience with them, and someone else comes along and is telling misinformation about them, I think that I have an obligation to set the record straight. Okay, it's just the
Okay.
right thing to do. Now, they're going to call me anti Dominican because I disagree with certain individuals. But if you notice, I don't say anything disparaging about Dominicans or any Latino group or country for that matter. I have an issue with certain individuals and I'll address them, right? But still the accusations that I hate Latinos, but nobody can ever produce anything that I have ever said against Dominicans or against Latinos or anyone else, right? But
Yeah.
the thing that pissed me off is when I had certain African Americans telling me that I don't have any right to speak on the behalf of African Americans. I mean, I really love Rakim because he's the first one who's come into this little toxic corner of YouTube, who's an African American man that knows his shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, who else did we have before? We had Roy Chest, who's always getting hysterical and has some negative thoughts and opinions about his own people. Like he doesn't
No,
believe.
he's not hysterical, Truth. It's that his pride is on steroids. You don't get him.
Oh, okay.
If I can chime in for a second. Remember the live stream we did regarding femicide?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now he got into a big rant. Why? Because I dare talk about different types of strength. Okay. And then he kept trying to like, no, you don't have the right to talk about that. Don't talk about it. Think tank. Da, 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 da. And I just simply said, yo, bro, if you don't like what I'm saying, don't listen. And to be perfectly honest, those of you who know me, I normally don't get that loud. Okay, I'm basically I'm basically your vanilla type, calm, whatever type of person. Okay, I don't get that loud. But the fact of the matter is, he was being disrespectful to me. He was being disrespectful to Denise. He was being disrespectful for everybody else. Why? Because I happen to share a viewpoint, which I do agree on. There are different types of strength, but it's like some people, they just cannot deal with the truth. They cannot deal with a different concept.
But I think his pride got damaged right there. His ego. Just
Listen,
hearing that, for example, when I think I was on that panel, and then I had kind of I rode on your point, be like, yeah, basically I used to do moderate bodybuilding, and I was told directly, like, hey, what you're doing here, that's fine, but you got to get your immune system up. My sister had come with me. He's like, she ain't got to really worry about it too much because estrogen protects her more than testosterone protects you if you catch a cold. Both of you will catch something like an infection because she has a different kind of strength than you, a different kind of immune response system in her body. She's gonna survive this before you do. There's been bodybuilders they're swole as hell and they die due to a nasal infection. Just
yeah,
they breathe something in. Yeah, truth knows they breathed something in and it infected them and they couldn't get over it and they just dropped dead. These people that don't understand that there are different ways. They have a childish misunderstanding of what strength is. They
Mhm.
think that bench pressing a refrigerator, up and down, that's strength.
yeah. But then what if they're hard? You see, a lot of people look at those guys and all they see is the exterior.
Yeah.
But when you look inside, a lot of these guys, their kidneys are all fucked up, their liver
Yep.
is all fucked up, their
Hmm.
heart is all fucked up, and then they're like surprised when they just like keel over dead one day. You know,
Hmm.
Mhm.
so
This. I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
mean, that goes perfectly with what you're saying. There's different types of strength.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they may have had
E-
physical strength, but they didn't have biological strength. Anatomic.
yes. And even in the realm of physical strength, that depends on what arena you're in. This video, I don't know if it's still in the on the internet, but there's basically a girl who's probably like 95 pounds, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert, who was basically tapping out all these guys. One guy, they had to like rip him off of her because he refused. She had him in an arm bar and she was like, tap out, and he wouldn't tap out. She was like, tap out, he wouldn't tap out. And he wasn't gonna, his pride was so overwhelming, he was willing to let his arm snap in half. So the guys had to prime off like, yo, come on, man, this is not what this event's about. So even in the realm of physical strength, if a woman knows how to use her strongest attributes against your weaker ones and you don't know about it, yeah, she's a stronger one. They have a cartoonish interpretation of what strength means. Things like, hey, how about the fact that women have mastered stillness and it's almost within their nature? They don't even have to really work on it as much as we do. And that's why they do better in school. When you mastered stillness, ideas come to you more. People think that they come up with ideas. That's another masculine, what egotistical aspect of life. Like, yeah, I came up with this idea. No, dude. The idea came to you. And the reason why your sister over there can probably come up with more ideas is she's mastered stillness. You're still jumping around trying to prove to the world you're the cock of the walk. These things all contribute to different forms of strength. How do you expect to explain how the biggest number of graduates these days are now women?
Yeah.
They're killing us in school in the educational system. They've mastered stillness. They can sit there and absorb the information, and then they don't challenge the teacher every single point. I've sat with a lot of these same people who have this egotistical problem. this misogynistic bent on mastering the world around them. And the teacher's speaking, every single point the teacher brings up, they challenge it. How do you expect to learn anything? At least imbibe the information first. Then form your questions respectfully. No, no, that's incorrect. Okay, did you let the teacher finish a sentence? And these guys, they never graduated. I graduated. They never graduated. They never got anywhere. And there are many people who are successful, have never having been graduates. However, they still mastered stillness in their own way. They chose to go a different route. It's not these guys, you know.
Yeah,
But I think, yeah. I'm sorry, again.
yeah. If you think about it, bro, tip. I come from sound engineering. Making news is not my thing. It's not my thing. But when you, like you said, when you're still and you're able to absorb certain things, you start putting
Hmm.
two and two together. If people, instead of being so loud, will just sit down, absorb the information, it will start making sense to you, to the point where you'll be able to, because people act in patterns to a degree, and it will be more easy for you to actually come to the conclusion of what's going on. That's why I told you guys at the beginning, for example, oh, this is what most likely they will say. Now, it's not because I have some superpower or I'm like this super intelligent being. No, it's because we've seen this so many times, that these people are so predictable, and we can predict what they're going to do and what's going to be their move. And because we have seen the result of it, of this type of move, we know that this is sketchy, you know?
Can I say something, Denise?
Yeah, go ahead, Rakim.
Well, one thing I just wanted to, speak with what Truth Teller was saying earlier. One thing I've noticed that a lot of, of course, with a lot of the anti-black rhetoric that's online, especially coming from how Denise calls them, the Hispanotaps, mostly like a lot of Dominicans too don't understand as well the struggle that a lot of Black Americans went through. Not just even Black Americans, but with Puerto Rico being annexed in 1898 and the racism and prejudice that Puerto Ricans had to fight against coming here. A lot of Puerto Ricans were attacked. A lot of Puerto Ricans were discriminated against in New York City, in Chicago, and Philadelphia, fighting these Irish gangs, Italian gangs, and all of these various people that were attacking, you know, um, that was attacking Puerto Ricans as well. And like, because one thing I will agree that Bitcoin said on one live stream before when they was talking, he felt like they was, disrespecting Puerto Ricans, and he said, you guys, we've been here, and we've actually, we was here, and we've seen, and went through a lot of things while being here. And then you look at the gentrification of the island, you look at all of the property that's being brought up, the corruption with pretty much extracting the resources and extracting all the economy from the island where poor people can't even make ends meet, and I just think that's something that they don't truly understand. And a lot of them is just going off of media rhetoric. Is obviously that they get a lot of their talking points from white supremacist streams, and I think one thing that bothers them too. We know in the Dominican Republic, it has a history of an anti-black sentiment, due to, I'm not sure if it's the conflict with Haiti or due to the dictatorship of Rafael Trujillo, but a lot of them have anti-black, views, and some of them would try to gaslight you and say that's not the case, but we know we've seen it all. We've seen all of the gaslighting before. We've seen the underlying racism, the microaggressions, the prejudice, and I think for some of them, not all Dominicans, but for some people that come from the island of the Dominican Republic, it bothers them to be viewed as black and be put in the same category as Black Americans. And I think some may lash out against Black Americans for that. They want to show that they're superior, and that's just not within people that come from, with some people that come from the Dominican Republic. It's also a lot of other people. It's like Black Americans are the gum on everybody's shoe. Once a lot of people come here to this to the states to show the upper elite class that look, we're not like them, you see, we're better than them too. And that comes from a lot of the media promotion over the years, a lot of being new in this country, and when you see the way that the media portrays African Americans, and when you see the night news as criminals, drug addicts, carjackers, and then of course, you have the shows that make African Americans look like they're stupid, dysfunctional. So a lot of that plays a part in people's viewpoints.
I mean, I absolutely agree with you, and I think you know the African American community needs to be more proactive, like they were, back in the 20s and the 30s and even the 1900s, to counteract the image that's being put out there in the media. Because man, it's just a fucked up situation when you look at the image that the media has put out about African Americans ever since the end of the Reconstruction era, right?
Hmm. Hey, can I say something, Truth? And if
Yeah.
you notice how well the media promotion, how powerful it is, because which I was explaining to Denise yesterday, if you look at the history, when the media first started projecting African Americans, they was looked at as the docile, jolly, happy, don't want to, say anything bad that'll make master mad. It was looking when you look at the tap dancing, the blackface, Amos and Andy, which was a
Mhm.
show that was broadcast back in the 30s, where it was two white men who dressed up as black in blackface, and their names was Amos and Andy, and they used black vernacular. Black people at that time was a comic relief until later on. Then they transitioned into portraying them as the criminals. The thugs, the robbers and different things like that. So yeah.
And it's funny to notice that, when everything was going their way, right? African Americans were the happy, jolly, happy go lucky comic relief. But then when they started getting economic and political power, now they're the thugs, they're the criminals, whatever. So, the image that gets portrayed, it's whatever the dominant society needs, to, I don't know, to appease their minds at the time. And the thing that really upsets me is the fact that back then you even had African Americans who would put on that blackface, in order to get the opportunity to perform.
Right, exactly.
And you still have the same shit going on today because
Yeah.
all this, image of being a thug and a gangster and all of that.
And
It's
even when
like,
you oh, I'm sorry, True. I just
it's
wanted to
like
say,
it's like, you throw money at these people and they're always gonna find the weakest link, right?
yes, yes.
They're always gonna find the weakest link who's gonna be impressed because you threw them a few dollars, to chuck and jive for them,
Hmm.
and that's what's still going on today. And
Yeah.
it's global. And the thing that annoys me about immigrants who come here, and they want to look down at African Americans and like, I mean, come on. I mean, we can't deny that there's a segment that's definitely caught up in some dysfunctional behavior. But what I want to know is like, well, God damn it, did we forget the low class people back in our own countries? Like, did we forget like those neighborhoods that we don't ever go to? Like, you really forgot all about that?
Which goes back to, I'm gonna mute everybody because there's like a noise that's disturbing the audio. But to be honest with you, it goes back to, I don't know if you guys can hear me now, but it goes back to actually, what we're talking about with the situation with Puerto Rico. We have, this slow tip circus not paying attention, but they will be the first ones to jump and say, "Oh, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican." But where are they right now? And I'm gonna start wrapping this up, and I will share my final thoughts at the end. But I want to start from Jose, Brotep, Truth, Rakim, and then finish with Ramon on your final thoughts. So, Jose, I'm going to unmute you. What are your final thoughts on, the explosion of the power plant and the quote unquote cyber attack? Luma not saying anything. Like, what do you think about this whole situation?
Well, first of all, I thank you for allowing me to be part of this closed panel. I know it was it was a great honor. Unfortunately, the sad part is I don't think we ever gonna know for real what caused all that. And meanwhile, you have thousands of people suffering because of this situation, and how many people will actually die because needed procedures couldn't be done, or they couldn't get their medications, or what have you. Um, the fact of the matter is, again, this is another example of you bringing solid information to think about. And it's unfortunate that the mentally challenged cannot accept the fact that a millennial, a Latina, is actually bringing information that's relevant for all of us. As always, it's a pleasure when here from all of you. To teachers, I said it again, do not let the naysayers get you down. Um, Ramon, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. Rakim, pleasure to hear from you as well. And Rotan. And
Absolutely. Pleasure was all mine.
Sí,
I
señor.
always gonna
Gracias.
say, and I always gonna close with the same thing. Let's be careful out there because we are still in the middle of a pandemic. And then there's crazy people want to do us harm. And then we need to be careful because if we're not careful, we might get infected by the mental illness that the slow taps are experiencing.
Hmm. Yep.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you very much for your insight. As usual, I appreciate your insight. That's why I sent you, the information about this closed panel. And to the slow tips that don't like closed panels because they believe we're cutting their freedom of speech, well, bite me. They're still gonna happen. They're going to continue to happen. um as I see fit. If you want to have open panels, I encourage you to do as the 34 million people that are joining YouTube and create your own platform. You can speak as long as you want about whatever you want without anybody censoring you but YouTube and the algorithm. So thank you very much, Jose. I appreciate your wisdom. I will catch up with you later on my next show. Thank you very much.
Are you still
Enjoy the
doing the
week.
stream on Sunday regarding fathers?
Yeah, I'm going to look. I'm thinking if I will be able to do so after reviewing certain things, unexpected loss that we didn't obviously plan for, and
Wow.
it's really sad, So I will try my best to, but I'm not 100% sure that I will be available to do so. But if I am, I will let you guys know.
Well,
Okay,
you know
but
what? Don't worry.
Good,
You
good.
know what? Don't worry about it because you know what? There are things that are more important. And the
Hmm.
fact of the matter is, Melanated Night needs you. Okay,
Yeah.
so we can always do these trains anytime.
Yep.
I
for
agree
sure.
Take care of
100%.
real life first. Yep.
Thank you, Jose, very
So
much for
please be
that.
safe.
Okay, you too. Enjoy the weekend.
Take it
You
Thank
too,
easy,
you.
Jose.
Jose.
Now, Brotep, no, it was Truth Teacher, Rakim, Brotep, and Ramon. Okay, go ahead, Truth Teacher. Truth, are you there? Luma got him. Okay,
Luma got truth, yo.
Rakim,
Okay, okay. Can you hear me
uh,
now?
yeah,
Oh,
go
there we go.
ahead.
There
Yeah,
we go.
there we go.
Your final thoughts on today's topic.
Well, the thing is, I didn't come in early enough to hear about it.
Mhm.
I'm I pretty much monitor how much news I receive because there's just so much negativity, you know. So I'm always on a media diet. But I will say, as a fellow Caribbean person, I just think it's ironic that, you know, people are advocating for Puerto Rico to become a state, but I don't see where they're getting the benefits of being attached to the United States. I think we're all suffering, you know, like unfortunately under the heel of America's Latin American policy. You know, if you look at the history, started with their invasion of Cuba. They invaded Haiti and the Dominican Republic twice. They invaded Trinidad. They invaded Grenada. I guess they couldn't invade Jamaica because technically we're still a British Commonwealth, but that didn't stop them from sending the CIA in to destabilize our government. And at the same time they were doing all of that to Jamaica, they were in Central America, turning those countries upside down. So I think it's a very silly, you know, these people that want to criticize us for making bridges when the fact of the matter is we're all getting our clocks cleaned by the same people, you know. And I don't know. I just hope that there's enough of a groundswell in Puerto Rico to get things turned around. I mean, look, they got rid of the situation with Vieques, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
that was huge.
Yeah.
So
it happened.
I have every confidence that the Puerto Rican people can get together and solve the
That's what
problem.
happened for Vieques. That's what happened for Vieques.
Wow. Yeah.
Damn.
It was
Now
close
that's
to
a
3 million
response.
people. Yeah, that's a response. They stopped the country. That's the main freeway that takes you everywhere in Puerto Rico, and they stopped it, you know, until they had to empty, Vieques. The Marines had to leave. So definitely, yeah, we need this again.
Yeah, and listen, I've been to Puerto Rico twice. I want to go back again because I didn't get to see as much as I wanted to. The topography reminds me a lot of Jamaica, like the topography and the architecture.
Yeah.
And listen, as a Caribbean person, I want to see all of our countries in the Caribbean doing well. You know, and I thoroughly believe that it's possible. But, you know, the one thing that we have in common when it comes to, you know, our inability to move forward is we got people from the inside that are like, you know, that are stabbing us in the back, you know?
Yeah.
And as long
The
as their
fence
pockets,
sitters.
yeah, as
The
long as
fence
their
sitters.
pockets are full, they don't care about anyone else, you know?
Yeah. So definitely, thank you, to teacher. And yeah, I believe it. Is these fence sitters that actually are the ones that are killing the purpose of what we're doing. And yeah, I also do not see the benefits of statehood for Puerto Rico right now. We might as well just stay as a Commonwealth if that's the case. So thank you, Truth, for your insight and your wisdom. And you're always welcome here. Like I said, I wish you would have catch up earlier. You can still watch the replay,
Yeah,
but I wanted to come here as quick as I could to speak about this crisis that's happening right now with the power grid in Puerto Rico. So thank you very much
yeah.
for joining, True Teacher. Now I will go to Rakim, Brotep, and then Ramon. Rakim,
Yes, yes, I'm here.
okay,
Um,
final thoughts.
my final thoughts is that um, I gotta agree with Truth Teacher. I don't agree with the like what would statehood bring that would benefit most of the people on the island, except being able to, well, which they already have the ability to be able to go back and forth to the states. Puerto Rico has lost a lot within the last 100 years. You know, a lot of resources, a lot of wealth, a lot of land that has gone to the elites of the states who've come in and pretty much taken the island for all it has had. And I just don't agree with that. Most of the people, another thing with Truth was saying, most of the people that are on the inside that are supposed to be, on the same team are taking money under the table to turn on their own people. And it's just not within the Puerto Rican community, it's within the black community as well. And these are the same people that they don't even understand the way systemic, racism works. They don't understand the way this whole world is structured on greed, and everyone's like the people just have their hands in the cookie jar, just taking and taking, and while the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer to the point that they're destitute and can't barely make it anymore. So I think it's important for people to educate themselves and understand exactly what's going on, and it's important to know what you're talking about so you can be on the right side of history and not on the wrong side. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Rakim. Definitely. You have to, but for that, it won't happen, unfortunately, with many people, because for that, you have to keep your ear to the ground and have critical thinking. A lot of the people on this side, unfortunately, don't think for themselves. And like Brotep said before, they have the inability to stay still. So thank you,
Oh,
Rakim, for your insight. Don't go. We're going to continue backstage. So just stay
okay.
right there. Thank you very much. Now, Bro Tep and then Ramon, your final thoughts on today's topic.
What up? What up? Now I'm glad we have this panel, especially with this breaking news. And again, it looks like you're becoming the breaking news girl. And that's what's up. That's what's up. We need more. Like you can become the female Tim Pool. You know how Tim Pool, like his whole platform blew up?
Yeah,
At
yeah.
first it was just him, and then now he has a network. So that's what's up. Now, in terms of what's going on there in Puerto Rico with this what happened today ish, right? I think noise has to be made. It looks like there's some sort of mindset now with most black and brown people, more brown people than black people. Now, black people, we make a lot of noise, but a lot of brown people, they're suffering with dignity. That's not the move. It's 2021. Make some noise. That crowd I saw for Vieques, y'all need to do that same thing for the turtles, that Logan Paul and his, yeah, that one. Y'all need to do that same thing for those turtles. Those turtles have been around since, I don't know, the time of, the Tainos and Anacaona over, and like they've been around that long, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
you have no idea, just like the bees, where they're like, if we take the bees out of the ecosystem, we all die. They just figured this stuff out. Like there's certain things you remove from the ecosystem, you're done. You have no idea what the death of those turtles will mean to your way of life there. So if not just to save them, at least to save yourself. You have no idea what that's going to mean for them. Two, with this fire at the electrical plant, please look for a way out that contract. I cannot see this happening ever. And you got to pay them whether they give you electricity or not. Who the hell signed this? Who signed this? It's 15 years. Don't break that contract. Do what you got to do. Break that contract. Make some noise. Heads must roll. If you don't have people risking their jobs and losing their jobs, then nothing's going to happen. Look at what with Black Lives Matter. Now, if you even utter the word Black Lives Matter, no matter what the corporation that became Black Lives Matter is doing now, but if you even mention Black Lives Matter will come to your town. Over here, slight digression, very short. There's a Korean store that when I come in there, I have my food in a bag, having shopped at the Chinese, and I'm shopping. They're like, "No, leave your bag here." And I hand my bag to them. They tried to put my bag on the floor. I was like, "Look, you can't treat black people like this." You know what I'm saying? You can't. Don't give me the exception of not putting my bag on the floor. The lady behind me right here, if she brings a bag, don't you put her bag on the floor either. We'll have a protest right outside of. The moment I mentioned that the noise will be made, they brought some act right. Never underestimate the power of making your voice heard. Make noise. Don't suffer with dignity and silence. That's not it, man. That's not it. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you so much, bro. Definitely, yeah. You can be protesting on the inside, but taking it up the ass on the outside. You
Mhm.
know, which it basically, I'm being very direct
That was
today.
so graphic.
You
Yeah,
know,
once again, we were Disney's Disney
That was
Disney's
too much.
Snow White, and she's Deadpool. Oh my God, she's
so,
yeah, but yeah, that's my 2 cents.
yeah.
I cede the floor to Ramon, man.
Okay. Thank you, bro. Now, Ramon, bro, stay in the back also. And Ramon, you too. What are your final thoughts?
When it comes to the situation with this so-called power company, if it can be called that, is that unfortunately when it came to paperwork, when it came to the contracts, they got too much of a sweet deal, it seems, because I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a breach of contract, they're still gonna get paid handsomely. Even if they provide a quarter of the service, they're already not providing all the service that they're getting paid for. They're upcharging people for services, and they're like doubling and tripling the cost, the monthly cost for the civilians, for the citizens, but they're not providing half of the service. I mean, that sounds like a sweet deal for the company, but screwing over the individuals, screwing over the customers, and there will have to be demonstrations. There will have to be again 2019. This is what this thumbnail that I have on represents. What happened in 2019. When it comes to when it came to the governor that had to leave the island and was ousted. That's why I put up this thumbnail, because that's what it represents. I mean, it requires people to actually move, and like Brote said, I'll give him that. Is to there has to be noise that has to be made when it comes to that, because okay, sure, the AEE, which was the previous company, may not have been perfect, but at least it wasn't. They weren't screwing over the people, from what I recall, because I did live in the island and I did live alone and I did have to pay bills there. But
Me
I
too.
mean, come on,
Me.
yeah, of course. It could be a little elevated the cost, even though I didn't have an air conditioner, even though I will barely use the stove because I wanted to save electricity. But they weren't charging me $1,400 or $600 a month for service. And now there is this incident with this explosion that you should have a couple of links that I sent you, in which it catches the fire that broke out at that station.
Yeah.
The timing of it, because of the people that are complaining about the shitty service that they're getting, and this fire is kind of like there is something that we don't know about it. The timing of it raises red flags for me, and when it comes to what the resolution is gonna be, it bothers me that they're gonna be doing like an internal investigation. I don't trust it. There should be some type of overseeing independent body that can give results of a report in an objective manner. So this whole thing, the situation, it raises doubts, it raises red flags, but this whole 15-year contract, it better not extend to that long, because it's gonna be overly crippled. People are gonna be forced to leave the island in mass. I don't know if they are calling this kind of like a terrorist attack. The thing is that supposedly there were activists that ran their mouths about doing something. I can't tell you. I can't tell you the details because I don't know. But I did read something floating on the internet that there were that there were some figures, not necessarily with the UTR, that they ran their mouth saying that something was gonna happen, but I can't prove anything. Obviously, it was an allegation. So they're calling it like kind of like a terrorist attack, and they're gonna assume as to who the suspects are, but I don't know. I don't know. The timing of it bothers me. It really bothers me. There could be some ulterior motive behind that, and hopefully it all comes out in an objective manner. Now I understand that the feds are going to be taking over the situation. That's another thing that bothers me, because the feds could very well be working for Luma, since it is a US company. They're going to be working more on their behalf to absolve them of any wrongdoing on their part. But we will see. We will see. And the last thing is free political prisoner Eliezer Molina. He is a political prisoner. And with
Definitely.
I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with that. And
Definitely.
thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No
Yeah.
problem. Thank you, Ramon. And definitely, you could not have said it in a better way. Stay in the backstage also. Now, before I leave, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And like I said, I almost did not make this happen, but the show must go on. When it comes to situations that mean a lot of, setbacks for the people of Latin America and also Puerto Rico. So, like I said, follow me on Instagram and also like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and also hit that bell for notifications so that you don't miss a single episode of Latin Explaining. Like I said, this has been breaking news on Latin Explaining with Denise Gonzalez. Thank you very much, and I see you guys on the next show.